Everybody knows that Copenhagen is wonderful, wonderful. The song tells them so. And this is a part of its heart, the harbor and the very street where its most famous citizen worked and died, Hans Christian Andersen, the storyteller. The Little Mermaid in the harbor is a constant reminder of him, and so are many other things around town. There's his statue and a main street called Hans Christian Andersen Boulevard. But on this trip, we're on the outskirts of town, in the Brøndby Halle, scene of a competition with a fairy tale quality of its own, the World Figure Skating Championship. Hello, I'm Jim McKay reporting from Copenhagen, and this should be a most interesting competition from the American point of view because a young brother and sister from Massachusetts are very much in contention for a medal. So let's bring in right away our expert on the sport, Dick Button. There's a good deal more to it than that, however, right?
Well, nothing is clear about the pairs competition. In the first place, the defending champions, Vorobiev and Lisovsky from the Soviet Union, are in third place after the short program. They had problems in that event. They had injuries several weeks ago in the European Championships. The American pair, Kitty and Peter Carruthers, who are wonderful, and I love them tremendously. I think they're so great. They had a little trouble in the compulsory in one of the compulsory elements in the short program. On top of that, add to all this the effect of the judging system, which is ever more complicated this year than it has been in the past, and we know about that. Now, the same panel of judges does not judge the short program as judges the long program. To complicate that further, no American judge is on the panel of the long program, which we're about to see. That means that the Americans don't have as good a chance. Since none of the skaters is clearly outstanding, it is at this point that nationalism rears its ugly head, and therefore there can be always a little play. The best skater usually wins, but when they're all very close together, it's kind of hard to tell. So, to be honest with you, I would not take a bet on this championship, no matter what the odds were.
And now here are the leaders in the competition. They'll set the standard that their pursuers have to shoot at. Sabine Baess and Tassilo Thierbach of East Germany. They've been very injury-prone in their career. In fact, they were out much of last season, 1981, with his injured knee. However, they still managed to finish second in the World Championship, now shooting for the title.
And overall, Jim, they're very good. They're clean all around. They've got great jumping ability, great technique. Look at this opening throw triple loop. Very nice. They have not yet reached the ability where they can leap over the chasm that separates the very good from the very great, like, for example, the Protopopos were. But they certainly are, overall, a very first-rate pair. Jump again, pair of side-by-side butterflies. Side double axles, 2.5 revolutions. Nice and clean.
Tassilo, by profession, is a radio and TV repairman. Somewhere back in Karl Marx Stadt, East Germany tonight, there may be a man saying to his wife, when is that guy going to come fix the set? Well, the guy is busy.
I don't think that the way they connect the various parts of music that they have in this program are particularly outstanding. In a sense, it's like many of the poor skaters, musically speaking, they have music by the yard, so to speak.
As a matter of fact, the music sounds a little bit distorted. Maybe Tassilo should have done that ahead of time. A little mistake there, by the way.
Watch this lift into a twist. Triple twist lift. All of these movements, I think, really are not inherently artistically creative.
It just doesn't seem to have that magic to it, to me.
Side double southbound. So the music kind of drones on.
Yeah.
And the skating is on more or less one level. Yet they're very good all-around skaters.
But they could be caught here. All the pairs, by the way, skating 4.5 minutes this year for the first time in the World Championships. It was always 5 in the past.
Final move, a pair camel spin, with sit spin.
Sabine, Baess and Thierbach.
And there it is, very, you know, it's kind of complete, and they didn't make, except for that one small problem, they didn't have any mistakes. It's just that it doesn't lift you out of your seat and say, isn't this wonderful? And yet it's highly likely that they will win this pair championship because they are leading coming into the finals, and they made no great mistakes. But as you see, the audience isn't applauding for very long.
Exactly.
And here was the flaw in their performance, the basic technical flaw in their performance, as they did side-by-side jump combinations. He fell out of a very simple jump, and of course it disrupted the flow of the combination.
Technical merit.
Okay, Dick, let's check the marks now. Remember, a perfect mark in figure skating is 6.0. 7 judges here, and you see what they've given them in their first set for technical merit. All 5 7s and 5 8s, except for the Dutch judge there, who gives them a 5.5. As always, there will be another set of marks now for artistic impression. And here they are. Okay, once again, all 5 7s and 5 8s. Once again, the Dutch judge gives them 5.5. In a minute, the Carruthers kids, the young Americans, will try for a World Championship medal. There, Kitty and Peter Carruthers about to make their big effort for a World Championship medal. During the recent U.S. National Championships, they took time to demonstrate and explain their basic lifts. Now first, here's how you saw them in competition at the Nationals.
Every pair program must be laced with a wide variety of lifts like this: split, triple, twist, Lutz lift. All kinds of lifts, whether they're overheads, platters, turning star lifts, or throw lifts. All of them are dangerous, require an enormous amount of concentration, and a great deal of cooperation between the two partners. Peter explained their daily practice ritual.
This is what we do every day before we go on the ice, upstairs in the gym. I pick her up and lock my shoulders and keep my shoulders straight forward in a complete check position. And then I bring her around in a check, lower her slowly, and then extend for position's sake. And then we start again, only this time I take her up, lock position, take about 2 steps, and then start to rotate, as so. And bring her around to check, down, and extend. And then, for an exercise for control on the ice, take her up, and I twist her. This is in case, if ever she's off balance on the ice, I can maintain this lift. And I'll do this as an exercise to strengthen my back and arms. And bring her around, and down, and check. One of the most important things in pair skating is the man's turns underneath the girl. If it's not done properly, you can have very bad falls. What you want to do is try to take each step, lift it up, and place it each time you turn, because if you ever get sluggish with one turn, the blade will catch, and then the walls come tumbling down. And that's the worst thing.
And it was the worst thing, certainly, for Carol Kawacki and Larry Schreier at the U.S. Championships, which incidentally were won by Peter and Kitty Carruthers for the second consecutive year.
And now here they are, making their bid in the World Championships. From Burlington, Massachusetts, they train in Wilmington, Delaware.
Very difficult opening move, a split, triple, twist, lift. Watch it here, watch her step into the ice, split, and triple it.
Trying for their first medal in a World Championships. Last year, they were 5th. And they're in 4th place right now. They must move up at least 1 place to get a medal.
So-called leapfrog lift. Watch him throw her over his head, twist, catch her. Already they have more charisma, for me at any rate, than Sabine Baess and Tassilo Thierbach have. Watch this throw, triple Salchow, back inside it. Watch him lift her. Nice, nice. Side-by-side double flips. Good unison in the turnings.
Through the program.
Tabletop lift. We've seen how difficult it is to do that move with grace and style and not make it look labored.
We also saw a bit of the work that goes into doing that one on that demonstration.
Skating beautifully to the music, listening to it. Watch him lift her now and throw her in this double axel. Rising out of the quietness of the program.
A lot of encouragement for them here. There are hundreds of Americans on the scene. A remarkable number made the trip. Looking ahead, we would not expect them to pass Baess and Thierbach, who have already skated, but yet to come are 2 Russian pairs, and they're the 2 pairs just ahead of the Carruthers. They must pass one of those pairs. So they've got to set their own standard now and hope it's better than those who are yet to come.
Side-by-side jump combination. Very difficult lateral twist lift right here. Watch the flatten out, turn over, and catch. Very, very difficult move. And their final spin, a pair camel spin. first-rate performance. A first-rate performance for Kitty and Peter Carruthers. Really first-rate. No mistakes. Very cleanly done. Superbly consistent throughout. Very, very nice. And I think there's a great deal of reaction here in the audience. Certainly more so than we saw on Sabine Baess and Tassilo Thierbach. But I don't think they'll pass them because that's the way the marking is.
But a medal certainly may be within reach here in their third World Championship. It was certainly easily the most impressive performance we've seen them give. Another look at that last twist flip coming up here.
All right, watch it now. Watch it now as she pole vaults from the toe pick to the air. Flat out turnover, and then a lateral twist and down and out. Now, that's very, very difficult to switch direction like that in the middle of the air.
And very dangerous, I might add.
All right, well, now, here are the marks now for Kitty and Peter Carruthers. 5 6s, 5 5s, 5 4s, 5 7s, 5 8s, 5 4s. Kitty, what do you think?
5.7, 5.8.
Good? They're good. I haven't seen anybody else skate, but I'm just happy the way I skated.
You should be. It was simply lovely.
Thank you.
Peter, what are you thinking right now?
Oh, just that I'm glad it's over. I've been sick this week. It's been a bummer, but I'm just so glad that we did our job and went out and did what we set out to do. But otherwise, all the work is paid off, regardless of what place we come in.
Would you change anything about tonight if you had the opportunity?
No, I would not.
Well, here's the second set of marks for your artistic merit. Are you disappointed with these marks?
I don't know. The marks. I don't care about the marks. I'm so happy with the way I skated. We've worked really hard this year.
You're sensational. Congratulations.
We're back at the World Championships of Figure Skating, Pairs Division in Copenhagen. On the ice, Marina Pestova and Stanislav Leonovich of the Soviet Union in second place, headed for a silver medal if they can maintain their quality in this long free skating performance, 4.5 minutes. At the moment, the leaders are Baess and Thierbach of East Germany. In second place, the Carruthers from the United States.
Side double axel. Row, double axel. Lifter now into the air. Split, double twist. Now watch the split first, and then the triple twist.
Now the judges do have room, if they want to mark this pair higher than the current leaders, Baess and Thierbach. They're second now. Could win.
Again, they're very good. They're, technically wonderful and all around superb, but they, again, don't have that quality that makes them stand out when one looks over the last 20 years of the history of the sport of pair skating, to say that this is one of the great pair skating teams of all time. One could have said that many times about the Protopopovs or about the power of Irina Rodnina and Alexander Zaitsev. Get this pair charming, very pleasant to watch. Lovely move, lovely. Good straight line step. Not a difficult one, but very nicely performed. Arm turning overhead. Their final move, a pair camel into a sit spin. Very, very nice. You know, nothing that one can say that wasn't there solidly. But certainly it wasn't creative or artistic, or it wasn't explosive, or it wasn't...
Wasn't exciting or moving either, I think. We're going to have another look at one of their moves.
The final move of their program, a pair camel. Now, the beginning of this very, very strong entrance, you know, nice, good turns, and they move instantly down into a pair sit spin. And, of course, her motion of her arms and his together with the music, you know, very nice.
Now, it's as simple as this. If their marks are better than Baess and Thierbach, they will move ahead of Baess and Thierbach.
5.6.
And now there they are with their coach, Stanislav, looking for their marks. These marks are not better than Baess and Thierbach. And Thierbach, 5.6, 5.6, 5.6, 5.6, 5.6, 5.4, and 5.7. Not close to moving ahead on that set.
You know, Jim, I was very much afraid that these marks would be much higher, and I'm delighted to see that they did not get, you know, this eruption just because they were right up at the top. I'm really pleased that these are not higher than they are.
On the other hand, I think on the basis of those marks, this is obviously unofficial, it'll be tough for winners. Silver medal to Pestova and Leonovich of the Soviet Union, but the bronze medal now will be awarded, and we'll find out.
And bronze medal winners.
And there, they've done it. It's Kitty and Peter Carruthers of the United States.
And isn't that a nice popular win? Look at this audience, really very, very enthusiastic over it.
They did everything they had to do. 2 years ago, they were 7th in the World Championship. Last year, they were 5th. Again, they've moved up 2 places to 3rd and a bronze medal, bringing on that burst of enthusiasm and the waving of the American flags here. Their timing should be just right, really, Dick. It certainly could be for the Winter Olympics, less than 2 years away now in Yugoslavia.
Well, clearly, no one pair dominates this scene, and that's the virtue for them. That's the opportunity that is there for them to grab.
Interesting, too, that no one nation dominates that scene. This is only the second time in 18 years that the Soviets have not won the pairs championship. The other Americans, by the way, Miller and Fauver were 8th. The Domenico and Lasson were 10th.
And interestingly, Jim, it has only been twice that the Americans have won the pair championship since, believe it or not, 32 years. In 1950, the Kennedys won, the Kennedy brother and sister team won the pair championship at the World Competition. Of course, Ty and Randy won it in 1979.
And coming up right now, it's the men's competition.